Beehive Sports Podcast is powered by Swing Juice. Visit swingjuice.com. Use promo code Beehive20. 20% off your golf and MLBPA apparel. Oh, going to be a heavy one tonight, especially after all the stuff that went on Facebook earlier with Deshaun. So it'll be fun. We're going to get to it. So that's part of the buzz. We're going to get to a little Facebook contest I out of nowhere did the other day. We'll get into that because it didn't really go as I planned, but it's my fault. So we might have a do-over, but I'll get to that. Fan rant update. We got a new announcement with not many details yet, but we have a new announcement. We're going to make something we're going to do for local high school sports, fall, winter, spring. Right? Because remember when we were talking about it and I completely left winter sports out of everything? I'm like,
you
fucking
forgot they existed.
Spring sports. Yeah. And you're like, hey, bud, winter.
Like, no, there's
copy.
3 seasons. Yeah.
Only one local shout out. Buzz and Buzzkill, like always. Then we're going to get into the Watson suspension, which is probably going to take up a good chunk. Murray contract update, and Sketty's got some live golf he wants to get off his chest. Sports history suspension edition. Thought it was appropriate.
Fitting.
So we'll get into some of the longest suspensions in sports history. We'll go to those. Sketty on, I believe, Mahomes quarterback comment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess that's what you call
it. Yeah. Things that sting. We got 5 stories there. That'll be a little quicker than normal. And then in my hive, we have a guest that I'm actually really excited about. I've been excited about doing this interview for a while. It's Blair Phillips. So this is a kid who I, at my full-time job, used to deal with, not, somewhat regular basis. He's aware. I'm not offending him by saying any of this. And yeah, he was a frequent flyer, a little bit of a nuisance. Did some things for himself and has completely turned his life around. And it's actually a really, really cool story. And he's got a pretty decent following going where he's, motivating people who are in his position to how to better themselves, what they need to look for in themselves and in other people and the people they surround themselves with. So we're going to get to that in my hive. Blair, Mr. No Gimmick Phillips, now an MMA fighter. He's got a pretty good career going. So we'll have him on in my hive. Let's go.
Welcome to the Beehive Sports Podcast. Here are your hosts, Joe and Sketty.
The buzz is brought to you by Busch Light. Busch Light Apple back on the shelves. Limited time. Last time ever. I don't know if they're ever going to do it again. It sounds like not. They got some new plans coming out. So get it while it's out there. Please drink responsibly. Reminder to audio listeners, as I keep saying this every week, the live shows are broadcasted on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Give us a follow or subscribe. We appreciate it. Even if you're an audio listener, you can still go to our social media pages and give us some love. The bigger the number, the better for us. Like I said, we appreciate it. Facebook and YouTube, search the Beehive Sports Podcast. Twitter at the Beehive SP, and Instagram at Beehive Sports Pod. Okay, so first things first. We got some business to tend to. A few things here in a row. Where's my banners at? Here we are. Okay, first, I just want to throw this out there. I did this last week, too. We're at like 28 teams. So we got, 4, 5, 6 more spots? How many is there? 34, 30, 36, right?
I think 36 is usually your
36,
max,
yeah. Two times 18. Math. So we're going to have, we got a few openings left. So everybody, if you're able to, FOP Lodge 83 Golf Scramble. It's our biggest fundraiser, August 12th, 1 p.m. shotgun start at Jackson Valley. It's a Friday at 1 p.m. What better reason to leave work early on a Friday than to go golf around? Here's the kicker. Bonus. Did you see the picture I sent you, Sketty, of the cooler?
Yep.
How badass is it? Scale of 1 to
looks
John
pretty
Cena. Yeah, it's pretty fucking sweet. So every golfer who attends this scramble gets a 6-pack cooler, Beehive Sports Podcast cooler. It may or may not have some beers in it when you get it. I don't know. I'm not at liberty to say. But, yeah, so if you, like I said, come to the scramble, throw a team in, you know, get a hold of me, get a hold of anybody that you know who might be in the FOP. It doesn't matter who it is. They can guide you to the right spot. Help us out. Next. Okay, so I didn't make a banner for this, but I didn't need to. I did the quick hold on, Hunter's interrupting me. Yeah, I saw that, Hunter. Red Sox are on a fire sale because they suck. It's good stuff. Christian Vasquez, welcome to Houston. Probably make the World Series this year. Most hated. I wore the shirt just because of that. But anyways, where was I? City of Coming. So the post I put up on Facebook, just out of nowhere, I saw it somewhere. Somebody posted it, and I was like, man, this would be really funny if I post this and then I tell people to select nicknames. So I was apparently not clear enough. Some people understood the purpose, but the idea was, so there's a town in Georgia called City of Coming, and the idea was to create a team nickname, a sports team nickname that went with that. So like the way it was put out was whoever wins, whoever has the most likes gets a hat and golf towel. Is that what I said?
Yep.
So Darren tells a story, which was hilarious, about his team being called, his Gus Macker team being called off frequently, so that if they lost, their opponents had to say we beat off frequently, which is funny. It's funny. Yeah. I like it. But it wasn't the idea of the post. So we're going to have a do-over, and I'm going to make a new rule too, is if you comment a team name that goes with City Coming, whatever it may be, you have to like somebody else's also. So you can't just like put one in and then not vote. You have to put one in and vote. So that way, you know, and then the people who don't want to participate just want to vote and put the laughing emoji, whatever, then they can do that. So we're having a do-over. I don't know when, but it's going to happen. We got to have a do-over because I wasn't clear with the rules.
That happens. Not you, not being clear on the internet.
Me not being clear on the internet? No, you don't understand emojis. Yeah. So you're at fault for that one. Okay, fan rant update. So the post is up. It's kind of buried now probably because we've put a bunch of shit up since then. So I'll have to either repost it or what? What do you think? Maybe pin it to the top, put up some, I don't know. We'll figure it out. But the dates are coming up. We did get a decent amount of feedback, not as much as I was hoping, but we do need like 2 or 3 teams for, I could pull it up and look, but we're going to need a few more guys for the first week because I don't think we have a Dolphins guy yet, and we don't have a Jets guy. I don't blame you, Dolphin fans. I know that you're all brave and, you know, behind the comment section, but when it comes to getting face-to-face and talking about how good Tua is, it's tough to do with a straight face. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Not easy. Not easy.
No.
So we'll probably repost. Is what I'll do. Just copy and paste it, put it back up so everybody can see it. And we got to get some more teams in there, though. It's kind of spread out. The later weeks, you know, 2 weeks from now, I'm not worried about them, but let's just try and get AFC East, NFC East locked up, and we'll be good.
I see Macintosh is in the comments. How pump's he going to be when they trade for Jimmy?
I think he would be okay with Jimmy. He's got
to be better than Daniel Jones or Tyrod, right?
Best offensive coordinator in football last year is their head coach now. So,
oh, okay. If you say so.
See, Andy says,
"Oh, he's going to take him." All right,
he'll take him. Who are they going to give up for him?
That's going to be tough. I don't know what they do because they only have like $5 million in cap space, and Jimmy's like $27 million. So there would be some figuring to do there. They're thinking it's more if he gets cut.
Ron King is joining us. Says Sketty looking like a Marlboro pack. Yeah.
He tagged me in the new tank tops the Niners have. They put out like I don't know what site, but they do look just like a Marlboro pack. That's not a lie.
You gonna get one?
No, I'm not wearing a tank top anytime soon. It's about to get cold.
No, it's not. We're good. We got climate change, buddy.
That's true. Climate change.
It's gonna be
no
hot
longer global warming.
It's gonna be hot till November. All right, so fan rant, we got to that. Okay, so big announcement. The big announcement. This is for local stuff. So Sketty and I came up with an idea we're going to do for high school sports, Eisenhower, Sheffield, Youngsville, and Warren. There's details got to get ironed out, but basically one person from all the schools. We're going to form a board. We got some plans, but we want to do best male and best female athlete of the sports season. So fall, that sports season, winter, and then spring. And we're going to present them with plaques. I did find out we can't give them cash. Against the
Figured
rules.
that was going to be the case.
Yeah. So did talk to Jeff White, the Warren's AD, and yeah, NIL not in place yet. Can't give them any, because I was like $50 in a plaque. I didn't even think like not a big deal. Gift cards, we wanted to do a gift card, can't do that. So, yeah. But we're gonna do like a I don't know, shirt and a plaque, and just just something to do, make them feel good, get them something to hang on the wall. This isn't a participation plaque either.
Yeah, we aren't doing that. Yeah.
Deal. Yeah, only one.
You got to be one. Yep.
You got to be the winner. So yeah, there will be more to come on that, but we got some conversations to be had over the next month. We got to get sorted out, and then we'll, get it underway. Let's get to a few comments here. Ron, sun's out, guns out. Yeah, Sketty says no. Dude, they're all over you. You're just taking a beating right now. Real men wear cups in the cold. I thought this was America. Yeah. Apparently not anymore, Ron. Used to be. All right, local shout-outs. Let's get to them. Like I said, there's only one. This is something that had I known earlier, because I just caught on to Rafalski playing for the Tarp Skunks. We had him on the show last week. Olean Oilers, New York Collegiate Baseball League, which is basically the same thing, just different league as what Ryan's playing, as far as I know. Ben Burdine, Mitchell Grosh, both of those guys playing for Olean. They just lost the league championship. They made it all the way to the finals in their league and lost to the Cortland Crush in a best of 3, 2-1. Grosh, I was looking because I heard some things. Second in batting average.
Yep.
In that league. Second in the league in hits.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Unless I was looking at the wrong stat sheet. I believe I was looking at the right stat sheet. But and then Burdine out of the bullpen, 2 saves, 26 Ks in 15 and 2/3 innings pitched. So they're both producing. So that's good. So just wanted to give them a little love. If I known, earlier, we could have had them on a while back. Now, unfortunately, interview segments pretty tied up until beginning of September, I believe. Just shout out to them, Olean Oilers. Congrats on it. That's a solid season. Won their division, and then 2-1 lose the championship, but made it there. So it's half the battle there. Buzzing and Buzzkill. Go for it. What's got you buzzing?
What's got me buzzing? The San Francisco 49ers, bud. Finally got D Ford off the books, got Deebo Samuel on the books, which makes me twice as happy because now you owe some charity $50. We never established a charity, but
no, but
that was easy money. It's good
charity to be named, wasn't it? Like I can just pick one.
Yeah, it's charity to be named. Yeah, yep, charity to be named. But yeah, Niners got me buzzing. Finally getting a little bit of what I want going on down there.
And he's got a running
over there, I
back
should
clause
say.
in it. I saw some incentives.
Yeah, they did. Not a lot of money. I was surprised.
A lot of money.
Not a lot of yards either. I think it was like 300 yards,
375 and 3 touchdowns.
Or yeah, and 3 touchdowns was different. Any one season, 3 rushing touchdowns, which I would assume Kyle Shanahan's going to make sure he gets that money.
Yeah, the only it only capped out like the running back incentives at like 1.9 million or something.
Yeah, it was weird. Yeah, I thought they'd be a little bit more for, pay him to run that ball. But we'll see how it all works out.
You're still getting beat on in the comments. Come on, Scotty. Most guys wear shorts year round and in 2 feet of snow.
I'm fully comfortable with people.
He skips leg day.
I do skip. I'm just saying, I'm fully comfortable. If you want to wear no sleeves and shorts in the winter because you think it makes you look tough, more power to you. I'm going to be over here warm, laughing at how cold you are, thinking that you look tough. So it's good. It's good with me. Go ahead, live it up. I always thought like the Bengals. Oh, we came out with no sleeves on to intimidate the opponent. You ain't intimidating me, baby. You're just looking cold, and I'm nice and toasty in my long sleeves. It's fine. I'm good. Hate that.
So my buzzing is going to be off sports topic. It's baby stuff. Asher has discovered his hands. So that's been really cool the last few days, watching him like hand up. He's like open and close and just staring at it, starting to grab stuff when you hand it to him. Pretty cool, smiling a lot. So that's just kind of had me. We had a really good weekend. He was socialized. We did a little dinner at Bent Run, took him with us, and he was cool. Everybody loves him. So that makes it a lot easier for us. But it was, so that's what's got me buzzing. What's killing your buzz?
There's a lot of things killed my buzz this week, but I'll go with the worst. Middle of last week, we had to put Gibson down after 12 and a half years. Came out of the show on Monday night, and his back legs were just kind of dead to the world. Had to carry him down and back up the steps to get him out to go to the bathroom. So, yeah, that was
sucks. I'm sorry. You didn't even tell me that, I don't think.
No, I really haven't told basically anyone. Just kind of been dealing with it, but yeah.
Now you're putting her out there.
Not good.
Getting it off your chest.
Now we're putting it out there. Yep.
It's good to talk about.
Yep. Yeah.
But that does suck.
Yep.
I'm sorry to hear that. I know. Unfortunately, that day is coming here sooner than later for me too with Biggio. So it sucks. Sorry to hear that. Hope you're doing okay.
Thank you. Yep.
What's killing my buzz? The Times Observer. So I think I sent you this, didn't I?
Good one.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
This is the Warren WTO, Warren Times Observer. This is supposed to be our local newspaper, right? So everybody knows Post or whoever bought them, and now it's like Jamestown writers who could give 2 fucks about what's happening in Warren. The Corporate Cup, which we talked about because a bunch of Warren players were in it there. Front page, July 26th. It's a Tuesday, I think it said. Front sports page. Welcome edition. Frewsburg players help New York sweep gold games with pictures of the New York girls holding trophies and other I was like, the fuck is this? Like, we don't want to see that.
Exactly.
The idea is, a little bit when it comes to local sports is it's a little bit of the feel good stuff. Like put some of the Warren players in just playing, whatever. And maybe they did in a different paper or whatever, but front page, you just like rubbing it all in Pennsylvania's face.
Yeah, write a better headline, like, lost a hard fought game, something like that. Like, give the PA kids credit. Yeah, I don't like the Times Observer.
It's our paper, and we got these. New Yorkers who run it now, and they don't care. I mean, they're right. We're south of the border. They don't care about what's happening. So, which is why we advocate for Your Daily Local, because it's just better and it's free online. Remember that, yourdailylocal.com. Free. All right. It's time. So Watson gets the 6-game suspension. I have a few. Well, one thing I'm going to read because I just want to. I don't know that a lot of people understood this, and from what I could gather in the comments, let me find it here. From what I could gather in the comments, I'm going to have to lift this up. From what I could gather in the comments is that people who were in support of Deshaun were one of two things: a Browns fan, or they were reading headlines that were a little bit out of context, unfinished sentences. I saw that in one comment where they said, "This is what she said," but that wasn't the end of the sentence. So I want to read just this page, so bear with me. It's the conclusion, and I'm going to blow it up so it's big and I can read it good because it's on my phone. So this is the conclusion from the federal judge, Sue, what was it, Robinson?
I believe that's right.
Yeah, Sue something. So here it is, conclusion. The NFL may be a forward-facing organization, but it is not necessarily a forward-looking one. Just as the NFL responded to violent conduct after public outcry, so it seems the NFL is responding to yet another public outcry about Mr. Watson's conduct. At least in the former situation, the policy was changed and applied proactively. Here, the NFL is attempting to impose a more dramatic shift in its culture without the benefit of fair notice to and consistency or of consequence for those in the NFL subject to the policy, which I learned today is everyone. It's not just the players, it's coaches, owners, everybody. So I learned that today because I was not aware of that. Looking at the record when compared to the relevant precedent, and looking forward to how this disciplinary determination might be used in the future, I find the most appropriate landing place to be as follows. Mr. Watson is hereby suspended for 6 regular season games without pay. Although this is the most significant punishment ever imposed on an NFL player for allegations of nonviolent sexual conduct, this is where that sentence I was reading in the comments stopped. Well, the argument was, she said this is the most significant punishment ever imposed on an NFL player for allegations of nonviolent sexual conduct. End of sentence, right? So that sentence actually continues and says, Mr. Watson's pattern of conduct is more egregious than any before reviewed by the NFL. So that's an important note to throw in there of something that she said. Recognizing that the only discipline mentioned in the CBA is a fine or suspension, I nevertheless believe it appropriate for Mr. Watson to limit his massage therapy to club-directed sessions and club-approved massage therapists for the duration of his career, and so impose this mandate as a condition of his reinstatement. So, no more Instagram masseuses for Watson. How they're going to know. I mean...
I got problems with
Houston knew.
For more reasons.
So, all right, hold on.
Yeah,
let me finish it. There's only one more. There's only one more bullet point. Mr. Watson is to have no adverse involvement with law enforcement and must not commit any additional violations of the policy. So that's that. That is her conclusion.
So this is one I didn't read that before. My question is, you're telling me that you can only give him like 6 games because of what the policy says, but also in the policy it says that you can mandate for the rest of his career he can only have massages by people that work for the organization he's playing for. Like, I doubt that that's the case.
That's
like, I don't know where they get that blanket. Touch. Yeah, like how do you come up? Yeah. How do you come up with that? But you can't give the guy more than 6 games for what he did. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, so that was the first thing I wanted to read. And like I said, the other thing that I have a problem with the whole thing and reading the comments, some on our page alone, is that people still don't understand the difference between civil and criminal. They can't wrap their heads around that. Somebody could have committed a crime and it cannot be proven in court. That's not a fucking new concept.
O.J. Simpson.
O.J.
Simpson.
Right?
100%. That's what you need
everybody
to think
knows
about.
he did it. Right. So,
yeah.
That's what a lot of people don't understand, and they don't understand the burden of proof is different in a criminal court than it is in a civil court.
Yep.
And they're still like, well, he wasn't charged. That's everybody's hang up. Well, he wasn't charged criminally. Why should he be suspended? Neither was Trevor Bauer, but the MLB took a proactive approach to saying, don't fuck around with girls and do stupid shit and put a bad light on yourself, because that's exactly what happened. And Darren said it best. Trevor Bauer wishes he was a football player right now.
Absolutely. Well, this is the one problem I think with the NFL has had for years I mean, you look at like the Ray Rice situation, and then the Greg Hardy situations happens, within a year of that. There's video evidence, yes, of Ray Rice, slapping the shit out of his girlfriend or wife, whatever she was, which, was not right. Guy gets an indefinite suspension. But if you read about how the Greg Hardy beat the hell out of his girlfriend, and then they were like, well, there's no video evidence, so whatever, he got 6 games, 4 games. It was like nothing happened. Ray Rice was done with football. Just there's no consistency in the way they
be careful. That's all the NFL's telling them.
Don't get caught on tape.
Don't get caught on tape. Don't leave any type of trail where you can, that they can hang you for, and that's that. So
yeah.
But yeah, the difference between criminal and civil, people are really struggling with, is from what I could tell. And then I did see a couple people, and including Spro, who played a little bit of devil's advocate this morning. Him and I had a really good discussion about this. Remind me. Okay, well, I'll get to this, and then I got couple more things. So he said, and I saw other people in comments across Facebook saying this, the appeal process, is there going to be one? I don't know, but they have 3 days, to figure that out. But is the reason Goodell asked for a third party to basically save face and say, hey, the information was out there a while ago that we wanted a year suspension. We went to an impartial judge to make the decision, and 6 games. So 6 games is what it is. I tried, but this is what they said. Even though the reality of it is, if the NFL appeals this decision, it goes right back to Goodell for him to decide. He could still come back tomorrow and say, nope, not happening. Set up the appeal, and we're going to tell him he's suspended for a full season. So have we seen the end of this? Nobody knows yet. We're getting to 60 hours before, we'll have an answer. But so, and then, so this was the other one, and I'm trying to think, like, the comments in my head, I should just pull them up, but like, a lot of people were bringing up, Browns fans were bringing up Jerry Jones, Kraft, Dan Snyder. So they're bringing all them up. And literally there's like an answer to each one of those, except for maybe Dan Snyder, but everybody in the world knows Dan Snyder shouldn't own a football team anymore. And that day is probably not too far off from happening. But Jerry Jones, to bring him into a comparison with Deshaun, Jerry Jones had a lawsuit against a paternity lawsuit where some girl was like, hey, you're my dad. Okay, here's some money. How is this the same as pressing yourself on massage therapists? I don't see that one. And Robert Kraft went to a rub and tug, which is likely 2 consensual people, one walking into store, other offering hand job for money. So this was the question I posed to Spro. So I'm going to pose it to everybody. Whether you have a child or not, pretend you do. And I'll just use the name we'll use Sketty. We'll use the name Sketty because there's not many of those out there. So let's just say you have a son and his name is Sketty. Okay, you're going to get 2 phone calls here. All right. First phone call from Sketty says, hey, Dad, I screwed up. I got caught going into a rub and tug. I'm in trouble. Okay, so that's the first phone call you get. Pause your reaction. I don't want to hear him yet. If you're in the comments, please answer when we're done here. I'd love to hear what everybody has to say. Now erase that from your brain. Second phone call, totally different scenario, but you get a phone call from your son named Sketty, and he says, Dad, I'm in big trouble. I have sexual assault allegations against 24 women. Okay?
Yep.
So which one of those phone calls irks you the most?
Well, it's obvious. I don't know why you're asking. It's an obvious answer to the question.
Right. So when people are comparing Robert Kraft to Deshaun Watson, you sound kind of stupid because what he did, does he need to do that? Probably not. I mean, I wouldn't think so, but I don't think Deshaun does either. But maybe these guys just can't talk to girls. Maybe they have zero fucking game. I don't know. But here's what I do know is that if I got those 2 phone calls from my kid saying, hey, I'm in trouble for this, or hey, I'm in trouble for this, One of them, I'm just going to grab him and smack him in the head and be like, what are you even thinking about?
You're a fucking idiot.
Have an idea. The second one, I'm like borderline disownership. Like, what are you doing? Like, this is
you better
one-way street.
Hope they lock you up.
Yeah, it's a one-way street to ruining your life.
Because I'm going to kick your ass. Yeah, yep.
Right. So I don't know how these comparisons are even coming about. And to me, all it is it's, and I hate saying it because that's all I see with like political bullshit is whataboutism is don't look at Deshaun. Yeah. What about this guy? What about this guy? What about this guy? No, what about Deshaun? Because that's what this is about. It's not about Jerry Jones. It's not about Robert Kraft. But if you want to talk about precedents and if that's your example of, well, they can't suspend him this many games because they didn't do anything to those guys. Well, those guys didn't have 24 civil suits against them for masturbating in front of a woman who was supposed to be giving him a massage. One of them he came on. All the other shit like that happened along with it. These people did not read any of the lawsuits because it's disturbing stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, it's difficult to prove. That's why there is no criminal charges. It's a he said, she said. And if it's one girl coming forward, then sure, cast your doubt. A lot of people will because it's the age of Me Too and money grabbing and everybody wants to get paid, whether it's how they don't care. But this is 24 women or 26, whatever it ended up being. So you're going to tell me that they all got together, went out in a limo for mojitos and just concocted a fucking plan to ruin Deshaun Watson? Just him?
Well, I will say, because remember at the beginning of this, there were the people that were like, this is just conspiracy from the Texans because he's leaving, with the timing of everything.
Yeah.
Which seemed a little outlandish, but now that we know the Texans were involved with helping him set some of this stuff up, if you want to go wild conspiracy theory back into it, I would say, hey, Texans knew these girls. They knew what he was doing. Now the charge is coming about. So I would buy a little more into the conspiracy theory.
See, I buy it less because the Texans were outed and literally were like, we want to do everything we can to wash our hands of this guy, trade him, settle the lawsuits. We want to move on as an organization. I'm not saying the Texans aren't anywhere at fault or shouldn't even be should be punished. I mean, I think that is even fair to say.
Yes.
Strip them of some draft picks. Like somebody today said they should have to forfeit some games. That's never going to be a thing. That's millions and millions of dollars down the drain. The NFL is never going to let that go. But what they will do is they'll say, hey, you got no 3rd, 4th, and 5th round pick this year. Tough shit. No matter where you finish, those are gone. And that's the way it's going to be. So do I believe that should happen too? Yes. The Texans are absolutely they enabled this situation to happen, providing hotels and NDAs. They knew what was going on. Could it have been a situation where they wanted him to get caught with everything that was going on with them? I'm going to say no, because they were happening well before he said he didn't want to play in Houston again. He was on the team making a playoff appearance, I believe, or it was the year before that they made the playoffs. I can't remember, but
year before. But
they were not. There was no ill will there until the end of that season when he said he wanted out. And then that's when the allegations came. Yeah, the timing of it's suspicious as all hell. Yeah. But it was back into August and September. It was before the season even started. A couple of them were. So the conspiracy theory to me is junk.
I agree. I'm just saying, I think the big thing about this, I don't think 6 games was right. Like I think that he had to be suspended for a year for a couple of reasons. Like Seastead's in the comments and he says the NFL is all about money. And that's why Deshaun Watson's only getting 6 games and the NFL won't appeal it, is because he's a quarterback on a franchise that has been unsuccessful for 40 years now. They want that team to be good, and they will be good if Watson gets on the field. I know they might be the best team in the AFC, which we can hopefully get to a little bit later here. But when you suspend Calvin Ridley 17 games for betting on, games that he didn't even play in, $1,500, it's not like he was putting millions on, and then you do this, like the judge said, this is unprecedented. This has never happened before, and now you've set the precedent where it's like, okay, you have multiple sexual assault charges, or not charges, but accusations, yeah, 6 games. That's the best we can do because of the policy.
Right.
I don't buy it. He should be gone for a year. It's what it should be. I think the NFL got this wrong.
6 games? What is 6 games unpaid to Deshaun Watson?
Well, and
Nothing.
nothing when he's only
Nothing.
he's going to lose what? Like I think his whole season, like game checks, only total up to $1 million. So
Yeah,
whatever the math is on that, But yeah, I mean, I think they messed this up. Like yeah, they can't prove anything, but to me, the conduct policy has never been about what you can prove. It's what image you're portraying for your employer, which is the Browns and the NFL. And to me, this is just a shitstorm. They've screwed it up with 6 games. I think people would have lived with a year suspension and said, that's about what he should get. I mean, you're still going to have the people that think he shouldn't be suspended at all, and you'll still have people that think, he should never play football again. But a year would have been probably satisfied most people. Instead, they've created this backlash. What else are you going to do? I mean, they've done it to themselves. If the NFL doesn't appeal this, they just look like clowns. And like you said, they don't care about women fans.
They don't.
It's
and if this is Goodell's chance to say, hey, that was the judge's decision. This is ours. We don't agree with her. Yeah. I'm appealing it. It's coming to me. He's getting a year. The NFLPA can then appeal it, and they can go down that road. But if that does happen, I don't see it going back down to 6, especially if it's 17. Maybe a few games off of it as a little bit of a compromise, but I wouldn't see it going dramatically lower than that if they even appeal. And if Goodell does the cop out where he says, oh, well, we had a third party come in and I wanted a year. Everybody knew that because I put that information out there way early that the NFL was going after a year suspension. And she said 6 and she's third party. So that's what we're going with. But I tried that. I could see him going that route too. Last thing I have on this is that if you're a Browns fan and you're on my Facebook friends list, you better believe I'm going to be rooting through your posts for the last 15 years. And I will find every post you made about Roethlisberger, you better take your medicine. Because everything you said, you talked so much shit to Steeler fans. You gave them nicknames and everything because of his instance in the early 2000s. And now you got the same type of dude on your team. So take your medicine, Browns fans, because all that shit you said about Big Ben for the last however many years is going to come back. And when Steeler fans start saying it back to you, you got nothing. You got nothing to say.
I don't want to disappoint anyone, but, my last thing on this is what's this mean for football season? If 6 games holds, if Jacoby Brissett can get that team to 3-3, 4-2, the AFC is in deep shit. I really firmly believe the AFC is in deep shit because what is the one thing that, I'm just telling you. So you got your Bills who throw the hell out of the football. You got your Chiefs who throw the hell out of the football. You have the Raiders who are going to try and throw the hell out of the football. The Chargers. I'm not going to throw the Bengals because the Bengals can run the football, but the Browns can run the football like almost nobody else in the AFC. You got Deshaun Watson out there who can sling it a little bit too. AFC is going to be in some trouble. And I was a Browns hater. I was way off of them last year. I think this is a team that could maybe make the leap this year and which would be just, I almost hope it happens because it would be such a weird, it would be Brownsy almost to see Deshaun Watson come off of this dog shit 6-game suspension and fucking win a Super Bowl or go to a Super Bowl. It would just be the Brownsiest thing ever because what do?
I think a lot of people are forgetting it's been how many days since Deshaun Watson has played an NFL game? Look at the rust,
which could be an issue. It could be an issue.
Look at the rust that players acquire just in one off season, and the first couple games they look like, oh boy. And this dude hasn't played since when was his last game? Somebody Google that.
He just didn't play he didn't play last year. So the year before that. When he had if his team would have been better, he probably would have been the MVP. He had a phenomenal year and then sat out. So I'm not saying there's not going to be rust, but on that team,
that's a long
he doesn't
time.
He doesn't have to come out and throw 4 touchdowns a game. They can rely on Chubb and Hunt, and with the addition.
Well, I know that.
He's got time to work it out.
They run the ball well. I just think that there's going to be some rust issues.
I mean, I think as someone, you're a Bills fan, you should hope that there's rust issues. You should hope they don't get in.
I'm not
If they
afraid
get in the
I'm not
playoffs,
afraid of Cleveland. Oh, they're good. I'm not,
I
but I'm not. I don't fear them as a fan.
They
Play in the
get it.
regular
I'm just telling
season.
you, you should probably.
Deshaun will play them in the regular season.
What
They play this
week
year.
do they play?
It's like 11, so he'd be
What week?
back.
Okay,
like week
so
11,
he might be coming out. Yeah.
I think it's week 11.
Well, they
12.
all Jacoby Brissett could beat the Bills. All you got to do is hand the football off. Don't run it. Throw it 3 times and you're okay. Ask Mac Jones what the recipe is.
You forgot that they made some adjustments there.
Well, Mac, they tried to throw more with Mac. They blew the game plan.
What? No, I'm talking about their defensive line is not the same as it was last year.
Oh, once again, we'll see. See what happens when the season starts. if they can actually stop the run.
Debo signs a contract, and now Scotty Damas is out here throwing out Super Bowl picks.
I'm not saying they're going to the Super Bowl. I'm saying I think there's a possibility it happens. I think
there's a possibility that the 49ers go to the Super Bowl. Anything's possible.
I don't know about that. I guess the NFC is pretty bad. I don't know if the middle of the line figures out. No, they're trash. They just keep winning Super Bowls. It's crazy. I don't know what happens.
We got one good team every year.
One really good team every year.
One really good team, and then the rest are junk. Yeah. I mean,
okay.
Didn't the Eagles make the playoffs last year?
Yeah, so did the Steelers.
All right. I already said what I need to say about the Steelers, though. The Steelers are going to surprise so many people this year, and I can't wait for it. Honestly, I think my hate in that division has completely shifted to Cleveland, like 100%. I don't even hate the Ravens anymore. Steelers are okay. I like Money Mitch.
It's because the Ravens. It's because the Ravens can't beat anyone when it matters. So what do you hate about them?
Ravens do stink.
What's there to hate?
All right, we'll slide on here. We got the Murray contract update. Did you see this? That they took out the study clause?
They look so fucking stupid now. Yeah, I saw it. Just so stupid. So we put this in, and then we got roasted on the internet. Right. And we took it out. Oh, okay.
They literally got internet bullied into removing part of Murray's contract.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Like, how dumb. You look dumb for putting it in the first place, and now you look even dumber not standing by it. Like,
what happens now when he really doesn't study and doesn't know anything?
Well, he already admitted he doesn't like to study. Yeah, I just see it better out on the field. But whatever. If that works for you, that works for you. I don't think you can be successful doing that, but whatever you think, just stupid by the Cardinals.
Agree. All right, last thing before we get into next segment here. Live Golf. What do you got?
Oh, this was just a quick one I saw today. The PGA Tour next year, like the total purse for the tour season is like 400 and can't remember what it was, 415 million, 450 million, something ridiculous like that. In direct response to the Live Tour to compete with them, the guys that they said are non-factors, they don't move the needle, they're not real competition. So every time something like this comes out, I love to just bring it up because once again, just like the Cardinals, the PGA looks stupid. Now we're not worried about them. Actually, we're just going to bump up the salary because, or the purse, because why not? Nothing to do with those guys paying more money. Nothing at all. He just look dumb.
I don't know why people hate Live Golf so much. I think it's cool. If any one of them got offered a bunch of money, they'd go.
Yeah.
Like the two.
Well, for sure.
The two big guys that are super outspoken against it are who? Tiger and Rory.
Yep.
Both of which make enough money in golf and endorsements that they don't need those. They don't need that money from Live Golf. Like they don't. I mean, of course, some of the other guys didn't either, but they chased it. They wanted to get paid. So, but I just don't. I don't know.
Also, I don't know if you saw this. Henrik Stenson won the tournament this week.
Yeah.
who just got booted from the Ryder Cup. So I love that. I love he took big fat paycheck home, and he said, I think his comment was, "I played like a captain out there this weekend." I said, yes, I love the shade. Love it.
All right. That's going to wrap up the buzz. We're going to fly through the next two segments because we got I told Blair about 8:45. So we'll get through, next three segments, I should say.
Yeah, we got three. Yep.
We do have three. The buzz is brought to you by Busch Light. Busch Light Apple back on the shelves. Get it wherever you purchase your adult beverages. Please drink responsibly. We're going to take a quick break and be back with This Week in Sports History.
Whenever you crack open a Busch Light, the mountain starts singing.
It's cold and it's smooth and it's waiting for you.
What is going on?
Hit it, Giant Kenny G.
It's so smooth.
Head for the mountains of Busch Light Beer.
Hi, this is Brian Hagberg, and I wanted to take a moment and tell you about our new website, yourdailylocal.com. Your Daily Local is your new home for news, sports, and events in Warren County and beyond. Our goal is to cover the people, places, events, and happenings that matter to you in a variety of ways, including writing, video, and audio. And the best part? All of our content is available for free. Head to yourdailylocal.com to get the news you need when you need it.
Let's take a look back at this week in sports history.
This Week in Sports History is brought to you by Your Daily Local. Visit yourdailylocal.com for the news you need when you need it. What do we got? Pro Sports Suspension Edition. So I just did 5. We're going to fly right through them. Number 1, the Black Sox, 1919. 8 players, lifetime ban through the World Series. Everybody knows that. You've seen 8 men out. You know what we're talking about. Number 2, A-Rod, 211 games for performance-enhancing drugs. It's a long time. Number 3, Ron Artest, 73 regular season games, 13 playoff games after the Malice in the Palace. If you haven't watched that on Netflix, I think it's probably still on there. Watch the Malice in the Palace because that is a badass documentary. Number 4, Lance Armstrong, lifetime from all competitive sports. Did you know that?
I did not know that. I knew he was from cycling.
What was he going to do besides ride a bike?
No idea. Triathlon? I have no idea.
Yeah, maybe that's what they meant instead of competitive cycling. Like he can't do the one leg of a team triathlon or something like that. Maybe, I don't know. But it said that was his lifetime ban, and it specifically said not just cycling; it's all competitive sports. So if you were,
he can't come play. He can't come play Men's Day at the Country Club with us. Remind me. No, don't invite him.
Don't invite Lance. Correct. Probably like my favorite Chuck Norris joke ever is about Lance Armstrong.
I don't know if I know it. I'm sure I have. Don't remember.
Chuck Norris and Lance Armstrong had a who has more testicles contest. Chuck Norris won by 3.
Cool.
I like that one. All right, last one, number 5, Art Schlichter, NFL lifetime ban that is actually still in effect. And this is for betting in the 80s. He was drafted by the Baltimore Colts. I didn't put this in my notes, so I'm going off of memory. 1982, maybe 3.
Okay.
Baltimore Colts. In his rookie year in Baltimore, he accumulated like $350,000 in gambling debt to bookies. Then,
okay,
yeah, and he just got out of prison for a probation or parole violation for I don't know. He was charged with a bunch of gambling stuff, I guess. I don't know. Fraud, like 20 felonies. I think I saw he admitted to over 20 felonies. When he was released in 2021, the judge said to make a note to the press, a warning to anybody who encounters this man in their lifetime, avoid any type of deal with him that involves exchanging cash for goods or anything like that. So the dude's like a complete con artist.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Sounds like the ban was warranted.
Yeah, lifetime ban. All right. This Week in Sports History is brought to you by Your Daily Local. Visit Your Daily Local for the news you need when you need it. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with Sketty on.
Hey there, everyone. This is Phil with JP Photography. I know. A photography ad on a sports show? I get it. You're here for sports talk and listening to Joe and Sketty's insane rambling.
Wait, what?
But bear with me for a few. I just want to tell you that JP Photography not only offers wedding photography, but also does events, engagements, headshots, family photos, and even some product photography. Be sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram. Just search for JP Photography or go directly to our website at johnphilphotography.com. That's JONPHIL photography.com.
He's absolute trash.
Sketty on. Let's have a listen to what Sketty's on this week.
0% chance that works.
All right.
Are you waiting for me to take it?
What? Complete roofing?
Complete roofing
Sure,
system.
this is your segment,
Yeah.
brother.
Well, I mean, apparently Sketty On is brought to you by Complete Roofing Systems, but we don't have any information for Complete Roofing Systems, which doesn't shock me knowing David. But a little bit
He's
of a last
fishing
minute
in South
sponsor.
Dakota. He's busy.
He is fishing in South Dakota. He's big tournament this week. So David, if you're listening, best of luck. Hope you're catching stuff out there. But we'll get with you guys next week on, hopefully I'll get at least a phone number for you. But you've probably seen the CRS trucks driving around town. Guys do a fantastic job. They work quick, hard worker. You know, David's great to deal with. Highly recommend him.
So their commercial will be put into the show too, but he's getting like a professional one done.
Yeah.
He didn't want our photo voiceover ad.
Don't blame him.
I think they're cool. I don't know, whatever. All right, Sketty on. Patrick Mahomes, go. Wait. Now go.
All right. Well, Bees, you can fill me in if I was missing something here, but Patrick Mahomes came out and made some comments this week, and I had him pulled up, and then I was looking for the Complete Roofing System stuff. He said, it's kind of weird when guys like me, Kyler, Lamar, get it when other guys don't, but we're going to go out there and prove ourselves every day. Now, I'm assuming he's responding to, I don't know what level the guy was, if it was an NFL scout coordinator, saying that once you take away Patrick Mahomes' first read, he just goes out there and plays street football. He breaks down, he runs, he does whatever, which is a true comment. Mahomes is trying to make this, again, about race. And while I understand there's going to be people out there who don't like black quarterbacks, that's just the sad part of the society we live in. Some people are going to be like that. That doesn't mean people criticizing your game or critiquing your game are racist. And to me, it's a bullshit thing that he said that. I think he's the best quarterback in the league. I think a lot of people around the country think he's the best quarterback in the league. And he definitely looked different last year. After the Bucs kind of exposed him in the Super Bowl last year, that Chiefs team did not look good for, 3/4 of the season. You can't just make everything about the color of your skin when there's actually something that's maybe wrong with your game. Personally, I think him playing street ball is one of his strengths, getting outside the pocket, extending the play, finding the open guy downfield. As someone who watched my team get beat by him in the Super Bowl, hell, the play that basically won him the game was him rolling out of nowhere and finding Hill wide open downfield. Just BS excuse for him. Kyler and Lamar, whatever. I think both of them are overhyped, if anything. I just don't get it. Don't like that he said it. I don't think it helps, society in any way. I don't think it helps him in any way. Just go out there and play your game, Patrick. You're an MVP. You were the highest player in the NFL for a minute anyway. Just don't like it.
All right. Couple of things. Shit. See, I should be taking notes while you're doing this because now I forgot everything I was going to say. But no, the thing. Oh, okay. So this was what I thought was weird because I do believe that was a response to the criticism he received from that. But when I read that, I didn't view that as criticism. Like I thought he was just making an observation. Like he
it is an observation,
right? But I think he was like taking it in a negative way, and I didn't read it in a negative way. When I read it, I was like, yeah, he does scoot around and make some crazy ass throws because he's got a strong ass arm. So I mean, that's Big Ben. That's Josh Allen. Like those guys.
Josh Allen. Yep. There's another one. Yeah.
I mean, those are guys who roll out, and so like when I read that, I just was like, thought he was being placed in a category of like that type of quarterback who can make things happen. Yeah, if his first read's not there, but I don't like consider what he does panic in the pocket. Like,
no,
I also
he
don't
always makes a play.
Right. So I don't know.
He doesn't have
maybe I read it wrong. Maybe I need to read it again. But if he was talking shit on Mahomes, it didn't seem like it to me. And
that I agree. That's how I felt. I felt like it was just a critique of his game. It wasn't a criticism. He wasn't saying that, like he wasn't trying to bag on him. I didn't feel he was just calling it like he sees it. The NFL. And again, if you watch the Chiefs play it all last year, they were not the same team they've been for the first 3 years of his career. I guess 4 years. First 3 years as a starter.
The year they won the Super Bowl. I mean, they were the numbers they were putting up on offense every week were just astronomical. I mean, they were like double digit favorites in damn near every game once they got rolling, and it was, they definitely weren't that last year because I can attest to that personally because if I see a line that was like Chiefs -4, I'm like fucking on it. Like, I'm taking that, and they didn't cover a whole lot. They didn't cover a whole lot. They had a lot of close games, and they weren't the same team. So I don't know. I didn't see that. I guess like he saw it, but again, if that's his perspective is that it was just about color and not about just a critique of his game, like then he needs to take a look around the league because Kirk Cousins takes a fucking beating from the media. I just had another one in the top of my head that I was just thinking of. Oh, Carson Wentz. These are guys who take thumpings all the time. Josh Allen took a beating his first couple years. They said you can't teach accuracy. He's never going to amount to anything because you can't teach accuracy. Turns out Jordan Palmer can because he fixed whatever mechanics it was with Allen that improved his accuracy dramatically. So I don't know. Every one of them gets lumped on. Yeah, I think Lamar does take a large portion of a beating, but in my opinion, good reason. A lot of it's
justified, though.
Right. Yeah. His best season was his first full season where everybody on defense was so committed to stopping him from running the football that he was able to find guys wide the fuck open. It wasn't, if you watch the highlights from that season, the tight ends, mostly tight ends that he was hitting, Andrews and Hayden Hurst, they didn't have many people near him. Like it was just find the guy who has nobody around him
throw it to wide open. Yep.
Right. Yep. And so I agree. I don't know. I
have with it is you can't use that as a cop. You can't say that your game could never be critiqued because of the color of your skin. Like that's what I feel like he's trying to say. If you critique my game, you're only doing it because of my skin color, and it's just not true.
It's a little arrogant.
There are some people who are going to be like that. Yes, 100%. And I'm sure, I don't pretend to know what those guys go through on a daily basis with their social media and stuff. And fans are probably screaming ridiculous stuff at them. But like the overwhelming majority of people think you are the dude, like you are the man. Like, some people now are starting to say that Josh Allen's better. I personally wouldn't be able to say that until Allen goes in there and beats him in a game that matters. It's just the way we do things in the world. it's not like Jimmy Garoppolo, I think, unfairly gets bagged on by a lot of people who don't watch him play and just say he's no good. And it's not no good. He just
Tom Brady
sometimes has little brain farts out there, and
from like 2017 to 2020, Tom Brady, the start of every season, underwent a mass of media hate because he struggled out the gate, and people were like, "This is it. This is it. Tom's on the decline." All wrong. He still took
Aaron
the beating.
Rodgers.
Yeah.
Aaron
Yeah.
Rodgers is getting shit. The guy just won back-to-back MVPs, and there's still people giving him shit. So yeah, it's just
all right. We're gonna get into take our little break here, and then get into the things that sting. We'll fly through that, and then we'll get Blair in here for My Hive. Going to be a good interview. Stick around for that. Complete Roofing Systems.
We'll get the info. Look for the trucks. We got.
Pretty awesome guy. Gutter Dave. Wait,
Absolutely.
that's what we call him. That's what we call him for. What's his name for the roofing business? Is it Roofer Dave?
He's still just Gutter Dave. Gutter Dave.
All right. We'll be back.
Jones Pest Control, your hometown pest control company servicing residential and commercial properties in Warren and surrounding areas since 2015. Sean and his crew will work tirelessly to keep your home or business free of insects to rodents and everything in between. Contact Jones Pest Control at 814-230-9548 and set up an appointment today. And remember, ants, spiders, bees, or mice, don't think twice. Call Jones Pest Control, 814-230-9548.
Checkout means sales and services with 2 locations on Warren's east side. Their garage at 800 Lexington Avenue not only services cars sold by Means, but has knowledgeable staff and modern state-of-the-art equipment waiting to serve their hometown of Warren. Whatever you need, including alignments, tires, brakes, yearly or enhanced PA inspections, oil changes, and much more. Make your appointment today at 814-723-7191, extension 2.
It's now time for the things that sting. The worst stories in sports, according to Joe.
This edition of the Things That Sting, powered by Jones Pest Control. Ants, spiders, bees, or mice, don't think twice. Call Jones Pest Control at 814-230-9548. That's 814-230-9548. All right, so 5 stories. This one will probably be the longest one. Griner update. No explanation of rights while detained in Russia. She has complained about. Her lawyers complained that when she got detained, they didn't explain any of her rights to her. Hello.
If only there was a country that did that.
Yeah, if only there was a place where they call the land of the free for a reason, because you do have all of these rights in place that have to be followed. Unbelievable. Weird. I couldn't reading that one was awesome. And again, just so everybody remembers, we are both get Griner home. Like, we want her back in America. I don't want her in Russia. But some of the shit that keeps coming out, like this bit where her defense made a case in court that she involuntarily brought it to Russia because she was in a rush to get to the airport.
Okay. So I heard that's. Did they?
What kind of fucking public defenders do they have? No, we'll get to that here in a minute. No, it hasn't gone through yet. Okay. But I just want to know what kind of public defenders that they have over there in Russia.
No kidding.
Who's representing this one? Not great.
Right. She forgot.
Was in a hurry. She involuntarily brought it because she was in a hurry. Okay.
Innocent mistake.
So the Biden administration offers a deal for Victor Bout, a.k.a. the Merchant of Death.
I remember him.
The trade would be him. No, they'd be trading him for Griner and Paul Whelan, who's a Canadian turned American, turned Irish, turned British. There's another guy
I think they're going to give him one more Russian. I should have took a picture of it. Yeah, there was him plus one more guy that I saw. And I thought to myself, who did Biden call? Mike Ditka and ask him for fucking trade advice? Yeah, just give him the whole draft. Who gives a shit? All the Russian mobsters, terrorists, all of them, send them over. We need Brittany Griner back. It's like he's trading for fucking Ricky Williams all over again.
I did some research on the Merchant of Death. Because why does Russia want this guy back so bad? That's what I'm trying to figure out. So there is an article about that. And it turns out he has ties to the Russian military, intelligence agencies, and that they believe he's being rewarded for his silence. He has, since being charged and thrown in jail in the United States, which is like over a decade, has not cooperated with authorities, has not spoke, has not given anything up. And they said that they believe he's being rewarded for his silence and that he is tight with one guy they mentioned who's really close with Putin. And he's got, like I said, all these ties to the Russian military intelligence agencies. So I don't know.
Yeah. Not the trade we want.
Right. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Let's get a better deal.
Right. Yeah, there's got to be. Yeah. That's why I said I put it up there. I mean, it appeared like Biden hired the Browns front office to try and sort this out.
Oh, the Browns would be better than this. Like I said, Mike Ditka. We're going to trade our whole draft for Ricky Williams. Let's do it. Who cares?
Okay, this one the internet really let me down on. Zion Williamson. His new contract stipulates he must be below 295 and he will have periodic weigh-ins.
Jeez.
Nothing out of the internet? You're pissed off that Kyler has to fucking read some playbooks for 4 hours every Monday, but Zion, literally, they're like, you're overweight, which he was. I mean, there was a bunch of stuff for him coming out that he was like overweight for where they wanted him and everything. And I've heard crickets on this.
Yeah, well, maybe people are just over it. I know when Zion was coming out, I kept saying this about him. Like, he's just way too big to be jumping as high as he does. Like, your body's not going to hold up to that. So maybe people are just kind of over it and forgot about him because he's only played, I don't even know how many games in his 2 or 3 years that he's been in the league. All
right, you wanted a piece of me on this one, you said. AJ Brown
absolutely
tweets out after McLaurin,
Debo was the last Metcalf and Debo, yeah.
Basically, all four of us got the same contract, and I'm the only one who got traded. Yeah, keep believing it was me. Anywho, go Birds.
Yeah. See, you didn't like. I'll let you explain why you don't like this. Like,
I just don't like that he's talking about his old team still. You're a fucking Eagle now. Focus. That's where you should be. He's DeAndre Hopkinsing this situation.
I like it.
Yeah, he's Hopkinsing this situation and making it like all DeAndre did and still does every once in a while was bitch about the Texans. It's Texans this, Texans that, and da-da-da. Well, you're a Cardinal now, so worry about the Cardinals. And now AJ Brown, to me, is doing the same exact thing.
See, to me, the way I'm taking this is because DeAndre Hopkins does shit on the Texans for trading them for a second-round pick, which I can understand. But AJ Brown, I think, is more talking to the fans because I think fans were getting on his shit about how he forced his way out of Tennessee because he wanted too much money. And I think what he's saying is, I didn't want too much money. What I wanted was right in line with what everybody else got. The Titans are the one who didn't want to pay me, so don't come at me like I'm the bad guy. They didn't want to pay. I said I'm not going to play for less. You know, it is what it is.
I don't know why he's surprised by that. Did the Titans have an offensive structure that would overpay a wide receiver?
No. I think again, I don't think this is something about the Titans. I think this is about Titans fans saying that he was, whatever, money hungry or chasing the bag or whatever.
Yeah, but who cares? Now he's got Eagles fans.
Well, I know, but I think
what's he think they're gonna do if he fucks up?
They're probably giving fucking death threats already for stupid shit. Knowing Philly fans,
right?
No, I do. I really think this is he's not taking a shot at the Titans. he's taking a shot at the fans who were pissed at him like he did something wrong when he just wanted to get his market value, which, as we've discussed, which you've seen all these people now pumped about the Debo signing, that everybody was crying, oh, we don't need him. He's too much money. Fuck you. I don't want to see him on your fantasy teams. I don't want to see you celebrating any touchdowns. When the Niners win the Super Bowl, you better be fucking crying in the corner going, we didn't need Debo to do this. You know, like, that's just what I feel. Fans are stupid, and A.J. Brown's just giving it back to him. He's got a little Kevin Durant in him. He doesn't like the fan hate.
He's a bitter ex. Titans need to give his hoodie back. That's all.
He ain't mad at the girlfriend. He's at the girlfriend's family. That's who he's mad at.
All right, that's fair. Michael Johnson, U.S. track legend, criticized for world record comments, attacked and accused of racism. He questioned the quickness of times in the women's 100-meter hurdles at the World Athletic Championships. The backlash began after Nigeria's Tobi Amusin stunned the field by winning her heat with a time of 12.12 seconds. He took to Twitter and said, I don't believe the 100 times are correct. World record broken by 0.08, 12 personal bests set, 5 national records set, and Cindy Sember, quote, after her personal best, I thoroughly thought I was running slow. All the athletes looked shocked, including Tobi Amusin, who, when she found out she broke the world record, literally was like, oh, I did? So he commented on that and has now been attacked and accused of racism, which I don't know a fucking idea how.
Yeah, how? Yeah, okay.
Whatever. It doesn't, yeah.
Yeah.
Not surprising anymore. But, yeah, so Michael Johnson, the U.S. track hero.
Yeah, he was the man. Yeah, he was the man when I was a kid.
Yeah, exactly. And the last one, NBA legend Bill Russell passes away, dies at 88. Basketball legend and self-proclaimed shot-blocking innovator. I read that article today. That he, in an interview with him, he said, I was a pioneer and I created the shot block. So, humble man. But it is sad, though. He was definitely one of the best of all time.
Defensive stud. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Were you going to say something?
Well, I was going to say he was only playing against 8 teams. I think there was 8 teams in the NBA when he was winning all his rings. So, he was the great. You can only play the teams
they put in front.
You can only play the schedule in front of you. Yep.
All right. That's it for the Things That Sting. This edition of the Things That Sting, powered by Jones Pest Control. Ants, spiders, bees, or mice, don't think twice. Call Jones Pest Control at 814-230-9548. We're going to take a break, get Blair in here. So it's going to be our in-between segment video that's going to be up a couple minutes until we get him situated. And then we'll be back. Blue Line Auto, located at 1606 Pennsylvania Avenue East in Warren, is locally owned and operated and is a family-run business specializing in vehicle sales and service. They offer state and safety inspections and general car repairs, including but not limited to brakes and rotors, tires, oil changes, batteries, starters, and alternators. They also offer vehicle undercoating prior to winter to help keep your vehicle protected. Currently, their hours are Monday through Wednesday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Thursday and Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call them today to schedule your next appointment at 814-230-9061. Your safety is their goal.
Hi, this is Ryan Klein, the host of the new pop culture podcast, Me, Myself, and Rye. You can find me on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and several other platforms. Special guests, breakaway shows, bonus episodes, cold beers, and a whole lot more. So what are you guys and gals waiting for? Subscribe now to the Me, Myself, and Rye podcast on Spotify or wherever it is that you get your shows and start listening today.
My High, Joe and Sketty's very own world of sports.
My Hive is presented by Blue Line Auto. For all your automotive needs, call Blue Line Auto at 814-230-9061 or stop in at 1606 Pennsylvania Avenue East in Warren. Joining us, this is the one I've been waiting for. I've been telling Sketty about this interview for quite some time. It was just a matter of figuring out when the right time was. It is tonight. Mr. No Gimmick, Blair Phillips. Thank you for joining us, Blair.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Doing great. Yourself?
Good, good. Hey, for some reason my headphones aren't working, but can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, cool. Then I guess we won't use the headphones.
Keep them on just for looks. It's up to you.
Yeah, right.
Just so everybody's in the loop, we're going to explain why Blair's coming on. So, Blair, what year did you graduate high school, Blair?
2011.
2011. Okay, so he was in his early 20s when I started with City of Warren PD, and he was a guy who became well known to me because we were kind of dealing with him a lot. He had a rough path going for a little while. Finally spent some time, state time.
Yeah. Yep.
Did some state time and has come out of it better than just about anybody I've ever seen. So I found out that Blair started with getting into some MMA and actually doing some sanctioned matches. So it's not just, rolling with buddies on weekends. This is the real deal. He's been in the octagon. And so I started following him, and it just so happened, I think it was 2 years ago, I ran into him at the 4th of July parade in Warren with his lovely girlfriend, and I believe you were with your grandma, Blair?
Yep, sure was.
And I pulled him aside and just gave him a, hey, really proud of you, really cool what you've been doing, and that you're really turning it around. I love to see that. That it's something that I actually have in my desk. I have a folder where I keep letters that have been written to me by people who I've dealt with in the past who have done things to better themselves. And sometimes they give you a thank you, like, hey, thanks for being cool with me. Like you treated me like a person and that kind of thing. And that's something I kind of pride myself on as a police officer. But so when I saw Blair, I was like, this is a great opportunity. We had just started the podcast. It wasn't but a couple of months old at that point. Now we're in season 2. But I told him, I'm like, hey, one day I'm going to get you on because I want you to share your story. So here we are. Blair, I'm going to give you the floor. And we'll have you start around the time that the trouble began and just lead us to what got you to where you are today.
Yeah, man, it sounds good. I've done a couple of different podcasts too. And, I participate in a 12-step fellowship. So I get to tell my story quite often. So I'm pretty familiar with my story. And, I really like sharing my story because you never know who's listening. You know, somebody might be listening, you know, that's an uncle, and maybe they have a nephew that's struggling, maybe a parent that has a kid that's struggling. Maybe there's somebody that's struggling that's, you know, listening to this podcast. And you know, so I'm able to use my story and spread some inspiration and try to give some hope into people's lives. And where I get that from is because it took somebody to turn the lights on for me so I can have a little bit of hope. You know, somebody took time out of their day to you know, sit down and talk with me and listen to me. And just that little bit, you know, it's crazy sometimes. You know, we go through life, especially as addicts, and just people in the struggle, you know, suffering from mental illnesses, you know. And I say that because I try to broaden the base more of just addiction, you know. Anybody that's struggling, any type of, you know, misfits to society, to say, you know, somebody reached into my life and was able to turn that light on. You know, all my life I was hopeless. My life was dark. You know, my life was over before it ever even started. You know, I was 15 the first time I tried to commit suicide, and you know, it took for somebody to come into my life and you know, and show some inspiration and some hope to me. And so I'm able to live this life and live this journey that I'm on now. So I know how much that it impacts others, because I remember how much it impacted me just by listening to a little podcast, just hearing, you know, a similar story to say, hey man, this guy struggled like me. If he could do it, then so can I. So I am devoting my entire platform, all my social media. You know, I believe in myself. So I know that I'm going to do something great with my life. And along with that whole path, I'm going to be dropping little seeds. Hey man, if you're struggling, reach out. Hey, if you're going through something, you can call me. You know, and even if you can't call me, that just call somebody, talk about it, you know, because it takes that one little thing, that one little day, that one little sentence from one person to your life can be going that way. And now next thing you know, your life is going that way. And I only know that because that's what happened to me. And now, actually, August 20th is my 5-year clean date.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. And so I know for a fact, my whole life, I never in a million years thought I would ever do anything with my life. Not only just like whether it was drugs or quitting drugs, I never thought I would even have a job. You know, I never thought I would have an apartment, you know, vehicles, stable relationships, people in my life that actually care about me, be able to go on vacations and have family to go on a vacation. You know, none of that was ever, you know, a possibility for me growing up. And now that somebody was able to speak into my life, you know, and I was able to turn my life around, and now I'm headed in the right direction, and I've been on this path for a little bit, you know, I almost feel like my sole purpose in life is to give that message to the next person, you know. So I really appreciate you having me on your podcast. So I'm able, you know, we'll dig deep into the story a little bit so we can relate to some of them people. So some of them people could be like, you know, because they're going to see me on a podcast, living in my apartment, driving the cars, and, you know, they're going to be like, oh, what's this kid know about the struggle? Well, let me tell you what, I haven't always, you know, been this person that you see on social media or, you know, this person that I am in real life. You know, I haven't always been this way, you know. So I'm able to use that story to relate to others, to be like, hey man, like, you know, I know some people say, oh, their life sucked growing up. Yeah, everybody's life sucked growing up. But no, let me tell you what, like, my case was a different type case. You know what I mean? And now I don't want to say that because there are some people in this world that have had a lot worse, of course. Like, I know that no matter who you are, somebody's always had it worse. But on average day-to-day like basis, like, you know, I'm watching a lot of kids grow up and how my friends grew up. I'm telling you, my life was not exactly the best, you know, and it doesn't matter where you come from. You can be anybody you want to be in this world with a little bit of effort and hard work, you know. So, and I'm just proof of that. So I'm just out here carrying a message to the next guy to say, hey, man, all you got to do is work hard. You can have anything you want in your life, and I'm proof. And you can have it too, So that's why we're here.
So get us started from the beginning. When the trouble began, what was taking place? What kind of trouble did you get in? And take that away to the starting point. What's that?
It started the day I was born. July 16, 1993 is when the trouble began. And that's just the truth, man. What's really trips me up is how everything's going on in the world, right? With that abortion type thing. And I'm a kid that can sit here and say my parents had no business having no dang children. You know what I mean? And that's the truth, because they caught me out, and that's about all they ever did for me. And which is a little bit of why, the nickname Mr. No Gimmick, that's a little bit more in depth than it's not just some nickname. Like, I legit have renamed myself, in society, because, what did my parents do for me other than pop me out? You know what I mean? Like, so I know that comes through like some trauma that I worked through and stuff. I, have carried resentments towards my parents, because I'm like, oh, you popped me out. You didn't do nothing for me. You don't deserve to name me. So I went ahead and named myself, And so what I mean by that is, both. So here's the thing, right? Is my mom was 18 when she had me, and my dad was a little bit younger than she was. So, man, I couldn't imagine if I would have had a kid at 17, 18 years old. I was in no predicament to be having no kids.
I agree with that for myself. I'm with you on that for myself. Like, I just had my first child at 38. And that, maybe I'm a few years too late, but like, even in my 20s, mid 20s, I was like, no, that would have been bad.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I can forgive them, right? Like, and I can't even say they did the best that they could, because they didn't really do anything. But that's besides the point, but my mom, she's an addict, just as I can understand and I can relate, right? My dad, he's an addict. I can relate and I can understand. Now, growing up, I could never understand, but now that I'm able to understand a little bit more. But from a very, very young age, there was a lot of violence, a lot of neglect. Mom always getting taken away by the police. The drugs, I was exposed to the drugs and violence, not only just the violence, but the gang violence, because, my mom was very heavily involved with some not so good people at a very young age. And I grew up in that environment, God bless my grandmother, because if it wasn't for her, I would have ended up in foster care. So my grandmother was able to take me in. But that's the thing about my grandma, is she had already been through hell and back. My grandma, now, she's not an addict. She's a very good person. But, she was married married twice, and both of her husbands passed away, and both of her kids are addicts. And, she, wasn't really able to do much for me growing up. She didn't have no money. We lived in a trailer in Starbrick, and we lived in the worst trailer in the whole trailer park. It was disgusting. So, and that's like what I grew up in. I had long, greasy hair. I didn't brush my teeth till I was 13. So I had no self-esteem. I didn't feel worthy to have friends. I didn't really fit in anywhere at school. And I think, that's kind of what triggered a lot of the violence. And really, to be honest with you, where I really got intrigued with fighting. So that was my way to make a name for myself, because, whenever I would sit back and I'd hear about, oh, these kids got into a fight, everybody would be like, wow, that's so cool, man. This dude, dude effed up dude. And they was down, dude beat the shit out of the one dude, and I'm like, man, I want to be that dude that just like always beating the shit out of somebody, and I don't know, for some reason that always really stuck with me, and I had a cousin growing up. His name was Ryan Markey. I know you know who that is.
I graduated with him.
Yeah. Well, what's crazy is he died in this room that I'm sitting in.
That is crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And but dude, so you know the stories about Ryan Markey.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah. Ryan was
Yeah.
a fighter, and he was a good one.
Yeah.
He was a good guy to have on your side.
Yeah. So here I am, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, and I'm hearing about all these cool stories of Ryan Markey, right? And not only just him, but like all the legends, right? And you know, I'm watching the movies. You know, I used to watch whatever movies I wanted to, the Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, you know, whatever it was, all the, you know, and I was so intrigued. Like, I don't know why, but I was always attracted to that type person. You know, I always wanted to be that guy, you know, growing up. And so that, you know, that triggered a lot, you know. So I guess I'll touch on, you know, where it comes to like when I had mentioned I wanted to commit suicide when I was 15, right? So I was at this place where I didn't fit in with my friends. You know, I wasn't very happy. My mom was in and out of jail. My older brother was in and out of lockup. I didn't have nobody in my life, right? I remember Thanksgiving would come and my mom would be like, yeah, we're on our way. We'll be over there in a little bit. And she'd never show up. Christmas would come around and my mom would steal all the Christmas money and then there would be no presents under the tree. You know, all sorts of just real messed up stuff that a child probably shouldn't be going through. You know, I'm seeing my mom's boyfriends beat her up. You know, the cops are coming in. They're doing raids on the house because people are selling drugs out of my mom's house. You know, the cops are busting in. There's smoke grenades and flash bangs, and they're doing a raid. You know, and then you know, and I'm seeing my little brother. He's 4 years old. You know, he's growing up throughout all this, and it just broke my heart, man. Like I was spiritually, mentally, I was exhausted. I was dead inside. You know, and I just didn't want to live anymore. From a very young age, I never ever appreciated my life. I'm talking about 15 years old. And it's crazy for me to look back now because when I was 15, I was a grown man. I had to grow up quick. But now these days I'm looking at 15-year-olds and I'm like, that's a little ass kid. That's a kid.
Yes.
You know, like when I was 15, I was a grown man when I was 15.
Right. And what's sad, Blair, is that in my experience in law enforcement is I've interviewed several of you at the age of 15. I've had kids come in and I've spoken with them and it was like talking to an adult. And it's been some of that is super bizarre. Like that stays with you. Like, I'm like, that was literally like talking to an adult and she's 11. Like, how the fuck does she know all the stuff that she knows already? And I know how she knows it, but it's just like you're being robbed of your childhood is how, you know, kind of makes me feel is like, you know, there's just so much more that this kid should be doing right now, like riding bikes and, you know, whatever kids do now. I guess they don't do the outdoor shit, I guess, as much as they did when I was a kid. But anyways, go on. I just wanted to add that bit in there.
Well, no, I'm glad that you brought that up and you touched on that because, you know, I don't even really need to go that in depth. Like you said, you hit the nail on the head. This kid is being robbed of his childhood. He should be out riding bikes and doing his thing, right? Like, you're 100% right. Like that was me to a T. Like I never got to have a childhood. I envy kids out here having childhoods. And I'm a 29-year-old grown ass man. I envy a kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like right there, like that's enough. That's enough. Like for the person listening live or anybody that comes back and listen to this podcast in a little bit, like that was it. Like Mr. No Gimmick, Blair Phillips was robbed of his childhood, right? So at what point did I quit throwing a pity party and blaming others and quit blaming my parents and quit blaming society and quit blaming the cops and quit blaming the judge? And how did I say, you know what? It's time for Blair Phillips to grow up and become a man and take care of his responsibility, right? Because I used drugs for so long. I destroyed my life even more for so long because I was mad at the way that my life was, because of my mom, because of my parents, because of all these things, right? That's where I grew up. That's where I realized I got to take some responsibility for my life, right? And I'm glad you mentioned, Blair went to prison and he came out a better person. You know what it was when I was in prison, right? Was because I was a hothead. When I was on the streets, I didn't give a shit about shit. I died when I was 15, and that's how I lived. You know, like I didn't care. And when I went to prison, meeting with lifers, I tell you what, you want to sit down and play some poker with the lifer, right? And then, like, I had a lifer that was my cellie, never getting out of prison, a murderer, never getting out, but a reformed Christian, as you would say, like he realized he did wrong, he was forgiven, and now he wants to live a better way of life. I mean, he's never getting out, but he's trying to be a good person now, right? So he's sitting there talking to me, and that's the type shit that changed my life. Was like, dude, I'm going down the same path that you're on. This dude been in prison since he was 19, and he's 43, and he ain't never getting out. That's going to be me. That was going to be me. Like, no doubt about it. One bad decision, like, that's where I was headed, right? I'm looking at my future in its face, and it's sitting in a 6x9 cell. And I said, damn, they're letting me out in another year and a half. They ain't letting this man out. I got to do something. And something clicked. Something switched. Something said, what do I have to lose? You know, at that point, I was 22 years old, you know, and at that point, my life was already over. I had no hope for my life. And at that point, I said, you know what? When I get out of prison, I'm going to try it. I'm going to try to get a job. I'm going to try to, you know, get an apartment, and I'm going to see if this works. What do I got to lose? If it fails, I'll go back to say fucking it, you know? Well, 5 years on in the journey, it hasn't failed yet, and I'm still doing it. And that's it in a nutshell, man. It's like, it doesn't matter where you've been, what you've been through, you know, like, and not only that, but you know what else is crazy? Like, all that traumatic shit didn't stop just because I got clean. Like, you know, we still have to live life on life's terms. You know, that's what's kind of messed up as being a drug addict in recovery. You know, sometimes we want a pat on the back because we didn't steal something today. Sometimes we want a pat on the back because we didn't rob, you know, or something, you know. And that's the thing, though, is that for us, that's a big deal. For me to, you know, whatever, mate, for me to, you know, walk into grandma's house and not steal her pills, for me not to do that is a big deal, right? And I feel like I should get a pat on the back. But that's normal, everyday shit. Like, no, you should probably not do that. To most people, it's like, you don't get on a pat on the back for not robbing somebody. Like, you just don't do that type shit, you know? And when you take an addict and you put us in recovery, you know, it takes some time for us to realize that we're doing, like, everything I've been doing for the past 5 years, it's shit I should have been doing my whole life. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, getting a driver's license, getting a job, getting an apartment. You know, this is shit I want to pat on the back for, because I'm like, you know, oh, I'm a walking miracle. I'm recovering from drugs, you know. But it's like, we can't look at it like that. This is just shit that, you know, we should have been doing our whole lives, you know. And it's like, and it's really mind blowing to the fact that I'm 29 years old. I got clean when I was 24, and I still most days, like, I feel like a 21-year-old. You know what I mean? Because I've been using drugs since I was 15. So really, I'm like 5 years old. You know what I mean? In all reality. So it's pretty wild to think about.
Yeah.
So talk about how when you made the jump and decided, hey, I want to try some mixed martial arts, and how that all came about, and how you got into where you're at now.
Yeah, absolutely. So listen, 2011, I got out of Abraxas, which is a juvenile detention center.
Yep.
I met my dad right around that same time. I never knew my dad growing up, but that's when I met him. He let me move into his house in Meadville, Pennsylvania. And when I moved in there, he said, Blair, there's a dojo in Guys Mills, which was about 30 minutes away. It's called Southwick Kickboxing and Grappling. This dude's legit, and I think you need to be in there. So mind you, at this time, I moved in my weight bench into his basement. I moved in my punching bag to his basement, and I had 2 pair of boxing gloves. And I'd wake up in the morning and I'd punch that punching bag all day, and I'd be down there just pumping iron. And that's what I did all day, every day when I got out of Abraxas. And he's like, Blair, you need to, you know, get down there. But of course, the way that my life is and the way that my luck plays out, It's not like he was going to drive me down there. And I was 17, just got out of a Abraxas. I don't even know how to get a car or, I've never had a job in my life. And it just didn't work out. So what I did was I used to carry around my boxing gloves, and I'd go around to random kids all around town. I would just box them, and I would just fight random people. And I actually have a bunch of videos on YouTube of it. And I've been doing that my whole life. Were
they willing participants?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
You didn't do what's that guy on YouTube, Charlie the boxer?
Yeah, Charlie. I can't think of his name now.
Yeah,
he's kind of a dickhead. Like he instigates fights and then he'll punch somebody and then run out of the ring. Do you know who I'm talking about, Blair? Have you ever seen that guy? Charlie.
Yeah,
I can't remember his last name. He's a dick though. But go ahead.
Yeah, I've seen that, but no, nothing like that. It was, I would literally be running around town and I'd see a group of kids sitting on a front porch and I'd say, hey, anybody want to box? I got a camera. We'll put it on YouTube. And 3 dudes would jump off the porch and line up and I'd beat them all and then I'd throw it on YouTube. And I used to do that all the time. That's legit. And, so it wasn't much longer. I moved to Erie at that point. I got involved in the gang activity up there. My life spiraled out of control. It didn't go good. I ended up moving back to Warren. I got arrested 4 times, spent a few years in jail. Then I went sent to prison. And then so when I was in prison, this is really so I started working out January 31st of 2015, and I haven't stopped since. So that is 7 years ago. I've been working out at least every day, sometimes obviously take day off or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
But consistently since January 31st of 2015. So I used to go to jail and, a lot of the dudes in there, they'd be doing push-ups. And that's when I really started to work out. And I started working out and I worked out the whole time in prison. And honestly, I used to work out in prison because I was scared when I got out. I knew I was going to have to get a job. And I knew if you're going to be dumb, you got to be strong. So I used to work out because I wasn't that smart. And so when I got out, I knew I was going to have a pretty roughneck type job. So I used to work out while I was in prison so I could be built and ready to work when I got out. And it worked out pretty good.
Yeah.
But, so I started working out when I was in prison. And I've always been a martial artist ever since I was a kid. Like I said, I've always had a punching bag. I've always had boxing gloves. And I've always been obsessed with martial arts movies. I've always practiced in one form or another. So, it's always been in my calling. Ever since I was a kid, I'd have little action figures and I'd sit there and make them fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, I'd play the UFC video games and I just loved fighting. And not only that, but like I had said before, it gave me a purpose. And still to this day, I'm on your podcast because I fight. You know what I mean? It gives me a sense of being, I've never had. Who the hell is Blair Phillips from Starbrick that lives in a trailer that grew up in a crack house? You know what I mean? Nobody gives a shit about him, but people care about Mr. No Gimmick, the fighter. You know what I mean? So it gives me a sense of purpose. It gives me a reason to wake up in the morning, So here, August 20th of 2017, I got out of state prison. And I had 2 things on my mind. I got to get a car because I want to go see my little brother. And I got to get a car because I need to get the guys' mills to start training. And that's what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to train mixed martial arts at Southwick Kickboxing and Grappling with Dale Southwick. That was my main goal getting out of prison. I wanted to get a car and go see my little brother. And I wanted to go train martial arts. And when I got out, I worked hard because the lifer told me I could have anything if I worked hard. And shit, he was right. I got a car, I got stable, and then I actually ended up at one of the local gyms here in Meadville, and the trainer, Dale Southwick, was at the gym. So it completely worked out perfect. And I talked to him, and he actually moved his gym to Meadville. And actually, at this point, he was training in the woods. So he was living in a camper in his woods because he just went through a divorce, and he lost everything. So he was like, yeah, I'll train you, no problem. Because my dad has been talking to Dale for years, I got my son, he's a beast. He would, do good at your gym. And Dale's just yeah, I have a lot of dads that think their kids are beasts. So Dale kind of knew about me already a little bit. So So I go out there and I had to walk like a mile through the woods just to get to this dude's camper. And I show up and here comes Dale. He's 250 pounds. He's just huge, just massive. He's a tough dude, and he was like, all right, we're going to do 250 squats. So I do 250 squats. Then he says, all right, now we're going to do 250 jumping lunges off of one leg. I'm like, oh my God, this dude's trying to kill me. But he's sitting there, he was doing the workout with me.
Right.
And he's like, all right, now we're going to do 250 push-ups and then 250 donkey kicks and then 250 side kicks and this whole like crazy 3-hour workout. And mind you, I just came from the gym because I was like, yeah, I'm going to go down to the gym, get strong, and then go train martial arts. Well, another thing coming, this dude trains in a completely different fashion. And so then here we are. It's October. We're training in the woods, and it's about to be winter. And he's like, Blair, I don't know what I'm going to do. We need a building for us to train at. So I start praying, right? I'm praying to my God, like, God, you got me this far. You gave me the trainer. Now we need a dojo. Well, Dale calls me the next day and he's like, hey, man, I just bought the bar. So there was an old ran down bar in the 5th Ward in Meadville, and it was called the Scoreboard. And he was like, you got to come over and check this place. What's that?
I know that place.
Oh, yeah. That's where our dojo is.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. And I show up there and the place has been vacant for like 5 years, and it was a dive bar to begin with. But all the bar stools, all the alcohol was still on the wall, the big mirror, the big bar, there was still grease in the deep fryer. It was like a ghost town. Like one day they were open, next day they just left, and we walked in there 5 years later. It was weird.
That is crazy.
Yeah, we moved to bar stools and we had a training session. And then next day, he called me and was like, hey, you want to come over and help me tear this place up and turn it into a dojo? For like the next year, I'd go over there every day before training, and we'd do a little bit of work on the building. Then we do our training. And that, it just started kicking off. At that point, I was 25 years old, or 26, 25 or 26. I've been training now officially for 3 years. And, I'd been training for like 9 months, and he's like, hey, you want to get into a grappling tournament at the Arnold Classic in Columbus? And I was like, yeah, heck yeah. So we started training for that. I showed up I was like 230 pounds, and I got a 3rd place. I got a bronze medal, and which I did good. That was my first time ever competing in my whole life. I've never played baseball. I never played football. I never played basketball. I never played any sports. I've never competed in my whole life except for, 25 years old at the Arnold Classic in a grappling tournament. And I did good. I got 3rd place. And, I kept training, and then I felt antsy to fight. Like I felt like I was ready to fight. And Dale kept telling me like, no, don't fight yet. We'll wait another year. And at that point I had started making martial arts friends on social media with other people locally, and not only just locally, but like within, 300 miles. And there was this person, a matchmaker for cage fights. Her name was Nicole. And she posted, hey, we're having a fight in Ohio. Anybody want to fight? And I messaged her, which you're really not supposed to. It's supposed to be your manager messages her, but I did. I was like, hey, I'm ready to fight. What's up? And she messaged me back. She was like, do you have a trainer? And I was like, yeah, Dale Southwick. And she was like, oh, yeah, I know Dale. Have him send me a message. So I went and told Dale, I said, hey, Dale, I'm ready to fight. And I messaged Nicole, and she has a fight for me. And he was like, whatever, let's do it. And they sent me an opponent. Oh, man, Liam Solsquist. He was 6'5", and he was a defensive end for the Cincinnati Bengals. And then he cut down to 220 as a boxer. And then he decided he wanted to start cage fighting. So when I went in the cage with him, he was 220 pounds, 6'5". And he had been bred to be an athlete his whole life. He was a Division I quarterback, and then he went on to play for the Cincinnati Bengals. And he was younger than me. And so, this was a stud of a dude, and I'm looking at him like, oh shit, it just got real, And I was like, you know what? This is like David versus Goliath. I'm like, heck, let's run it in. And I heard he was a boxer. So I was like, all right, best way to get a boxer out of there is just kick the shit out of his leg. And we had been training Muay Thai. And so I was like, heck, let's do it, you know? And what's crazy is, you know, I trained for that fight. And then the day before, so at that point, Ryan Markey was living with me. He'd been living with me for a year. And he'd been doing good. You know, obviously I'm in recovery, so I'm not going to, you know, have somebody use it in my apartment or anything. And he'd been doing good for a whole year. And, you know, I don't know what happened. And the day before my cage fight, he came home and he was just out there, just twacked out. I don't know what substance. I don't know what it was, but he was not there. And I was like, oh, I mean, like, I didn't know what to do. You know, I had to wake up that morning to drive to Cincinnati, Ohio for this cage fight. And I was like, man, I'm going to leave him in my apartment. And I know Ryan Markey's go-to was like meth and prostitutes. So I was like, man, this dude's going to have my whole apartment full of prostitutes when I get back from this cage fight. You know? And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And you know, we went to bed that night. And when I woke up, tried knocking on that door right there. And, you know, he didn't come to it. I kept knocking and knocking and knocking. And then I'm on the second story. I got a duplex upstairs, downstairs. And I went outside and I had a bad feeling. I was like, man, I had to crawl up on the second story floor and open up that window right there and freaking look at him. I mean, he was dead right here in this room.
The day of your fight.
Yeah. You know, like my number one inspiration for fighting. You know what I mean? Like, the whole thing's weird. The whole thing is weird. Like, I just like be talking to God, you know, and like, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like the whole reason, like, he's like the reason I got into fighting, you know what I mean? Like, and I've never known him my whole life. I've only ever known him for like the past year. You know what I mean? Like I've heard of him, like I've talked to him, but you know, I've never like hung out with him. He was way older than me, you know?
Right.
And you know, he reached out to me one day. He got out of Glen Bay, the rehab, and he reached out to me. He was like, hey, Blair, I'm trying to do good with my life. I don't know anybody doing good. You're the only person like in our family doing anything. What's up? Like, what are you doing? And he was living at Erie. And I went up there and hung out with him, you know, and I was like, dude, why don't you know, and I heard a story and I was listening to him where he was at. And I was like, man, I think you might be ready to, you know, I was like, why don't you come down and live with me in Meadville and try to get your shit together? And he did, you know, so that happened. And then, but I couldn't even like, I drove 4 hours to Cincinnati, Ohio, bawling my eyes out, like just crying the whole way to Ohio. Literally, like my girlfriend wanted to stop at Dunkin' Donuts and get some coffee, and I'm trying to order a coffee as I'm crying. Like the ladies handed me a coffee through the drive-through window, and I'm just bawling my eyes out, like, you know, crazy. I'm like, this is nuts. You know, but I was like, I got to get there and I got to do this fight, you know, and like we signed a contract. There's other people involved. I can't just back out, you know. And we went, I did the fight, and, you know, in the first round, boom, I was beating him. He didn't really have nothing for me. I was just killing it. I was just in my groove, you know, just natural. And at the end of the first round, Dale was like, hey, are you all right? Like what hurts? Like, are you good? And I'm like, Dale, I'm going to knock him out. I'm going to knock him out. That's all I kept saying to him. It was like, I'm going to knock him out. I said, watch, I'm going to knock him out. And because I felt it. And boom, the second round went out. And I caught him with a sweet left hook. And I knocked his mouth guard out of the cage, out into the crowd. Boom, I knocked it. I was like, yeah, I'm going to get him. And I don't know what made me do this, but he went to duck under a punch, and I just caught his neck and jumped on him and pulled the guillotine. And I mean, he was standing straight up. I felt like a monkey choking out a giraffe, you know. And I just boom, hit him, and he went down like an elephant that just got hit with a tranquilizer, like standing up on his knees, laying down, and next thing you know, he was tapping. And I couldn't believe it. I won that fight, man. That was like a huge eye opener that everything I've been doing my whole life, the training, like I knew I was on the right path, you know, for this martial arts. I was like, it comes natural to me. I'm a quick learner. I'm a good fighter, you know, and heck, man, I grieved the death of Ryan and kept training and at that point, it was like, you know what? Like, my whole family does drugs, man. Like, I can't keep letting these people hold me down. Like, I'm trying to trace my dreams, and like these mother truckers just keep dying on me, And I went into my second fight. I lost that one. I don't know if you guys caught that one, but he was a Division I wrestler. He wrestled for Ohio State, and he was a blue belt in jiu-jitsu. But right after I fought him, he got his purple belt in jiu-jitsu. So really, it was a purple belt. And I'm only a white belt at this point. I don't think I had any business fighting this dude, but hey, I learned a lot, so I'm not complaining.
Right.
And I got beat that fight pretty bad, which really that showed my heart, because I mean that dude beat me so long that he broke his hand. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't quit. Jesus. I wouldn't surrender. I was covered in so much blood. My whole face was disoriented. But and the whole time he was hitting me, I was hitting him back on the bottom. Like, he had me in full mount, and I was just sitting there hitting him back as he's for like 3 minutes of round one. And it was just me getting beat up, and I just kept eating it,
So was that your last fight in Ohio? Because haven't your other ones been in Erie?
Yeah, that was my last fight in Ohio, because we got linked up with the Bizarros up in Erie. So, we've been training up there more, or fighting up there more, because, it's local. All of our fans were able to come out.
So how did I've watched all the videos of your fights. I know that for a fact, but which one was it, that fight, the guillotine that I'm thinking of, or did you hang on another dude like early in the first round of a match? Did that happen, or am I thinking of the fight against the dude in Cincinnati?
Yeah, so Liam Salsquist, I tried to hang on to him in a guillotine in the first round also.
Okay.
Which that was just a complete lack of experience. Like, this dude was standing straight up, and I just pulled guard on him, and he just slammed me. Boom! I got right back up, so it didn't matter, but that wasn't very smart.
What's your current record right now?
I'm 2-2, so I have fought 4.
4 times?
Yep.
2-2, and then so we spoke recently, obviously, and you told me that you don't have anything scheduled fight-wise right now because you're working on you're comfortable with your stand-up fighting, but the ground stuff is where you're trying to get better. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So my last fight against Mateo Garner, he lost. To the judges, he lost. Or no, to the judges, I lost. He won. After a 3-round bout, 3-minute rounds, the judges gave it to him because I got out wrestled. Even though I was covered in his blood, I beat I thought I won. You know what I mean?
Right.
Everybody in the crowd thought I won. All my buddies thought I won. And everybody was really surprised that the judges gave it to him. But it's a game. It's a sport. If you don't score the points and it goes to the judges, at that point it doesn't matter. The judges, they got their system. And he had 2 takedowns on me. So if you ever go back and watch the film, in the 3rd round, I was standing there ready. I had all the energy in the world to do whatever it was necessary to win this fight. And my only thought was, I need to knock this dude out. My thought should have been, I should go in there and get a takedown, and possibly knock him out. But I need to get a takedown to even up the score. And that wasn't even in my thought process, because I'm not a wrestler. I don't do takedowns. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm a Muay Thai fighter. I go out there and kick him and punch him in the head, And so that's what I've been working on. Now, it takes a lot of time to put that naturally in your system. So when you're actually in a fight, everything you've ever been taught goes out the window, and you resort to your natural instincts. My natural instincts aren't, I need to go take this dude down. So it's going to take a long time for me to wire into my brain, hey, I need to take this dude down when you're in a firefight.
Right.
So that's what I've been really working on. And I think we're almost there. I've actually done 3 grappling tournaments since then. And 2. I have one on August 13th, another grappling tournament. And I compete at the blue belt level, which I'm only a white belt, but I just compete at blue belt because I win. So why not?
Yeah.
I got gold, and then I just beat a blue belt like 3 weeks ago. Maybe it might have been a month ago. But and I'm about to do another grappling tournament. So I've been working on my ground game, working on my offensive wrestling. I'm confident in my stand-up striking. And then, because I don't need to be going 2-3, 2-4. I need to make sure my next fight I win. So I need to make sure I go 3-2 and 4-2, and then so I can go pro, and then whether I go on a
Do you have a time frame for when your next fight is going to be when you're looking to book your next one?
I'm thinking probably next year, January, maybe end of the year, December, but more than likely not till 2023.
Okay.
So, and the reason behind that is because I'm very passionate about, I want to have a fight once a month. If not once a month, pretty close to. I want to be the fighter of the year. I want to maybe have a knockout of the year. I definitely want to be like amateur of the year, maybe have a fight of the year. I want to be recognized on some sort of ranking system, because every year they do where they have like an amateur fighter of the year, a knockout of the year, you know what I mean? Something like that. So next year, I'm going to be super busy next year. So this year, I'm kind of just, taking it easy, doing a lot. I'm just training a lot, so I'm not doing a whole lot of fighting. I'm doing the grappling.
The craft.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, which also, also I'm kind of keeping my head above float here because, like I said, my cousin had passed away before my first cage fight. And then my third cage fight, 2 weeks before that, my baby brother died, so like when I was sitting in prison and I'm writing letters to my baby brother, he's the reason why I wanted to get out and do something better for myself so I could be an example for him. You know what I mean? Like my sole purpose for living died July 25th of last year. You know what I mean? So like my whole life got turned upside down real quick. You know what I mean? That was like a huge, like just straight punch in the, like that was a kick to the nuts. You know what I mean? Like my life was going good. It has been going good for the past 4 years, been out of prison. And then my brother died. And then like, I've taken a break from everything. You know what I mean? Like I've taken a whole year to like, I don't even know how I'm still clean. You know what I mean? Let alone like chasing a martial arts dream. You know what I mean? So like I've just kind of like been fighting, doing my own thing, making it fun again. Cause there for a little bit, like it was getting to be to where like this is my full-time job. Like I was working, 16 hours a day between training, making sure I'm eating right, cryotherapy, taking my supplements, bathing, sitting in the sauna, stretching, yoga, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden my freaking brother died and it just kind of like put my whole life on hold, And so I kind of had to I had to really make sure I dove back into my program, make sure my recovery was sturdy. I got into trauma therapy. That really knocked me. So, what is it? August 1st. So July 25th, we, I'm not going to say celebrated 1 year or whatever, but it's been a year since my brother died. You know what I mean? And we all got together. Yeah, we let off some lanterns and it was nice, we were able to remember them. And so that happened, you know what I mean? So, but I'm finally starting to poke my head back out and I'm like, all right, I need to get back to the grind. I'm starting to I've been dead inside for the past year, man. Not only that, but my cousin died. That, you know what I mean? Boom, my brother died. I got a phone call that my mom was dead, that she was in the hospital. She just overdosed. And they told me that if she comes out of the coma, she's going to be a vegetable. And she came out of the coma and she was fine. But the fact that I had to receive that call, you know what I mean? And then my brother got sent to prison. Huh?
Has not been easy.
Dude, this whole year, my whole life has just been messed up, not only just the past year. And that's what I'm saying. Just because we get clean and just because we get in recovery doesn't mean shit gets sweet. Now we just got a raw dog reality. Now we're out here dealing with our emotions. Unfortunately, I can't go drink alcohol until I'm fucking numb. You know what I mean? I got to sit here and deal with this shit. You know what I mean? Thank God that I have the tools and the coping mechanisms and I have a fellowship that I'm able to rely on. I have a protocol, you know what I mean? I'm doing good with that, but it's holy shit, man, can I catch a freaking break? I'm trying to do something great with my life and damn. Jesus.
Yeah. We're laughing with you, not at the situation, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's just you know, you're working your ass off to get to where you want to go, and there's just all this outside noise, you know, that's coming along the way, and I can tell you what, and I think I can say this confidently.
Yeah.
If you could stay sober through all that shit that you went through while in recovery,
yeah,
I can't think of anything that could happen that could make you break your streak.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, can't nothing phase me right now. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
And that goes for anybody else too, man. Like, the importance of this message is that, like, you too can go through shit and stay clean. You know what I mean? Like, anybody listening, like, I'm telling you, like, we can do great things with our lives. I don't care what you go through, man. Just I've totaled vehicles. You know what I mean? Like, I've lost jobs. I've been fired from jobs. I've been broken up with the relationships. I've had pets die. You know what I mean? Like, holy moly.
Well,
you know, and it's like,
yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, I'm going to stay focused. Like, I believe in myself, man. Like, I believe that God didn't bring me this far just to bring me this far, you know? And I'm very passionate about what I'm doing. And it's great, man. You know, I love it. I love fight. I love martial arts. I love the whole, you know, it's crazy. Like, martial arts is a community, man. Like, we show up to the events and there's thousands of people, like, you know, competitors, you know, look at the UFC or any martial arts, you know, these dudes are beating the shit out of each other and giving each other's hugs. You know what I mean? It's funny. Like, these dudes are violent predators. And then after the fight, they sit there and cuddle for 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, martial arts is great, man. It's all raw emotion, man. And, like, that's all I've ever known is raw emotion. I think that's why broken people fit with martial arts.
Yeah. I mean, I've always said, and I think a lot of people have always said this, like, it takes a certain type of person to get into that sport and get to where you're at with it, where you're actually scheduling fights and, you know, sanctioned fights. It does. And, you know, I'm sure not all of them have, you know, the same type of upbringing that you had, but they had their own, you know, they had their own way of why they got to where they're at with it. And, you know, not everybody was a D1 athlete that ends up getting into martial arts. You know, that's just not how it is. Is there a lot of them? Sure. But there's just as many who had to take their own route, you know, just like you did. So, Blair,
I always say I wasn't a D1 athlete, but I was a F1, a felony one convicted felon in prison pumping iron again. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't D1, I was F1, motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Well, hey, Blair, anything else you want to add before we let you go here?
No, man, I just extremely grateful for anybody that tuned in and listened live. Extremely grateful for your podcast, the Beehive Sports Podcast. I'm extremely grateful for you having me on here. And our little buddy up there in the corner, I don't know who you are, but holla, brother.
So that's Sketty, Mike Honorati. He's a Eisenhower kid.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So he's a local. But no, man,
I'm old like Joe.
Yeah. Nice to meet you.
I'm old like Joe. So nice to meet you as well.
Our little buddy up in the corner. That's awesome.
I like
that's
that.
Great. I like that too.
Be my
we're gonna be using that from now on. That's your new name.
Nice.
But no, Blair. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna keep in touch.
Yeah.
And I want, you know, once it progresses and maybe we get into your next scheduled fight, maybe pre-fight, we'll have you on to talk about it a little bit, and you can share some excitement and everything, and we'll be supporting you, man, every step of the way. You just keep your nose down, do what you're doing, man. You're killing it. I mean, you just told everybody here and all the guys who are going to download the episode tomorrow. I get a lot of that. You know, the next couple days, we see the number fly up of listens, and they're all going to get to hear it and just hear how, you know, and you've shown that despite whatever adversity you might face, you can still make things happen with your life if you so choose. So
absolutely, yes, sir.
Blair,
I appreciate it, man.
Hey, we'll have you on again, and I'll be in touch soon.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Best of luck, Blair.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So that's like a lot of
Absolutely.
people in Warren have had the experience of watching Mark Marrow. Mark Marrow comes in and does talks here sometimes. I think he was just at the Library Theater not that long ago. I saw him at Beatty because when I was working a day shift, this is when Deppen was involved with getting him around and everything. And Deppen was like, you need to go see Mark Marrow. And so I went and watched his story, and Blair's isn't far off from Mark Marrow's. And he's on his way to doing, you know, the things he wants to do, just like Mark Marrow did. And when he got where he wanted to be, you know, he faced adversity and he looked it in the eye and, you know, made the best of what he could out of that situation. And that's what Blair's doing. So it's just badass. I'm so glad that we got to have him on finally. And it'll be cool supporting him throughout and seeing where he goes with this. And we'll, you know, he's got us in his corner. That's for sure. I know he's got a big following and, you know, couldn't say any more great words about his trainer and everything. So, but we're in your corner, Blair, and we'll be cheering for you the whole way. So appreciate you coming on.
I say we get up and see a fight. If he's fighting local,
I'm
let's make
into
the
that.
trip.
If he gets another Erie one, we should make the trip. I'd be down for that.
Yeah,
because actually I've seen too.
Yeah,
Bizarro tickets aren't like outrageously priced or anything either. So
yeah,
maybe we can do a little. Maybe we talk a little bit of sponsorship somehow. Maybe we can throw something for him before his fight, and then you know, go up and watch. That would be cool. I'd be down for that.
Yeah, for sure.
Anything to add before we sign off here, Sketty? Or as you will be referred from here on out, little buddy in the corner.
Little buddy in the corner's got
I fucking love that. That was hilarious. I don't know who little buddy in the corner is, but hello, nice to meet you. That's so good. That was so good.
That'll be me next week. Little buddy, I'm telling you.
Little buddy in the corner. Sketty is no more.
In the corner.
All right. That's it for this week. Everybody who listened live, we appreciate you. Everybody who's going to download this later on, we always appreciate you as well. We want to thank our sponsors, Swing Juice, Bush Light, Your Daily Local, JP Photography, Means Sales and Service, Complete Roofing Systems, Jones Pest Control, the Me, Myself, and Ride podcast, and Blue Line Auto. Thank you all for making everything possible. Thank Blair again for coming on. We'll hear from him soon and get that all sorted out because I'm definitely interested in going up and watching him beat somebody's face in.
Absolutely.
We're in. All right. Till next week. Take care.